We're going to work on this worksheet today, and I'm going to do an example of each type of problem. This is to prepare for your test that you have tomorrow, and so that you can see some of the kinds of problems that you'll have. First thing we need to do, it says to change the equation to standard form. Standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. So here, x plus 2 squared, we're going to write it side by side, and we're going to multiply it out. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is 4. Go ahead and combine that, x squared plus 4x plus 4. Our next step is to take the negative, or whatever number's in front, and multiply. So we're going to multiply everything here by a negative, which really means to change the signs. And then we bring down that 3 that will add on the end. So we get negative x squared minus 4x minus 1. So for all of these problems, 1, 2, and 3, you do pretty much the same thing. On number 1, you really just have to FOIL it because there's nothing added to it at the end, and there's nothing at the beginning. So you just have to multiply it out, use the distributive property, and don't worry about multiplying and adding. The next type of example is using, it says to change it to vertex form. So vertex form is y equals a x minus h squared plus k. In order to use vertex form, you do have to find the vertex. So let's do that. Let's type that first example into Desmos, and then we're going to find the vertex. Here's the graph in Desmos. You go and click. That means that our vertex is -1, -2. Okay, so that we've got the vertex was -1, -2. So the vertex goes in the h and the k place. The a is the number in front of x squared. So a here is going to be 2. So you're going to have 2x, says minus, so you change the sign. And then plus k, so you just bring that down. And there's vertex 1. And you could graph those two equations to make sure you get the same thing. Whenever you graph it, as long as you do, you know you did it correctly. Next, it talks about writing an equation in factored form, and it gives you the roots. This is what we were doing on Monday. Backwards factoring is pretty much what we're doing because it says factored form. So this is just where you write out your two parentheses and you change your signs. It was -3, so we change it to +3. It was a 5, so we change it to -5. Next, it says, given the vertex, write the equation in vertex form. So we're doing exactly what we did up here on 4, 5, and 6, except it already has the vertex for us. So we're going to write the equation just like this right here. For a, you can have any number. I'm just going to have a 1. X, change the sign inside the parentheses, leave the 5 alone, and there's vertex form. Next is some graphs, and so you're going to use these graphs to answer the questions. And it's similar to what we've already done, but you have to use the graphs to do it. So the first example, it says to write the equation in factored form. Factored form, you need the zeros. So let's go and figure out what the zeros are. The zeros are where it touches the x-axis. Here it looks like x is -1 and x is 3. So now if I want to write it in factored form, this is where we write our parentheses and change it. So we have x plus 1 and x minus 3. Okay, we're back to vertex form again, same form as above. And so what we would do here, I'll write that form just one more time for you. And we'll tell you that a on all of these is 1. You won't have to worry about that, but we do need the vertex to go in for the h and the k. Notice this problem. The vertex is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, -4. You have to figure that out. And then you write the equation. Just leave it as a is 1. X, you can put -0 plus 0, or you could just put x, it doesn't matter. And then -4. And then there's your equation. Last one says to convert to factored form. If you're going to convert to factored form, that means I need to know the zeros. I can't look at that and know the zeros, so what we're going to do is we're going to graph it so that we can find the zeros. We're going to graph that in Desmos. Before I continue, I meant to remind you that this right here I wanted to change to a negative. It's not supposed to be a plus. It actually doesn't have any zeros if you put a plus in there, so we're going to put a negative when we put that in Desmos. So here we have it in Desmos, and I'm going to get the zeros, so that's where it touches the x-axis. We got -4 and 0 are our zeros. So we got -4 and we got 0 as the zeros. So now to write it in factored form, we write x plus 4. The 0, you can put x minus 0, you could put x plus 0, or you can just put an x. I'm going to put an x because I like that, and I'm going to put that in the front. So pretty much this is just practice on the different forms. We have factored form, we have vertex form, and at the very top we have standard form.